I just want to preface by saying that you are going to get offended while watching this video. Boys, I have somewhat of a problem, and that is that I feel the need to consume every bit of good media. I want to watch all the best shows, I want to listen to the best albums, watch the best movies, and play the best games. I want to see it all. And so I spend a lot of time listening to music while I'm playing a game or while I'm watching a show or multitasking all these different forms of media. And so over the course of my 15 years on this planet, I've consumed a lot of pieces of digital media, and I have found that some of them are extremely overrated. The first one I want to talk about, a pretty simple one that people are more catching on to today is the Black Panther movie. Now look, the problem with hating this movie is that it has obviously a lot of baggage. Not only was it the first like all-black MCU movie, which is a pretty progressive and cool thing to do, but of course Chadwick Boseman's death and him being associated as the main character in this movie, it makes it a hard movie to criticize. But if you just kind of remove all of that and look at the movie for what it is, it's pretty shit, I'm not gonna lie. One of the main problems is that it's just plain boring. Like, it's just genuinely not interesting to watch for most of the movie. I've tried to watch it probably 4 or 5 times since I was like 8 years old, and I don't even think I've ever got through it all the way. I mean, I've watched movie reviews of it, I've watched other people talk about it, but I myself have never been able to sit down, watch, and comprehend the movie from start to finish. On top of that, the CGI in this movie is really bad. This is a problem with a lot of modern Marvel too, but this was one of the first movies at the time to have like really shit CGI, and it really stood out then too, and it still does now. Also, Black Panther is a character, T'Challa, he's just not really good in the movie. Like, he's just kind of like a big personality-less figure that's just a figure of strength in this movie. He doesn't really have much of a character, which is unfortunate because in Civil War, the movie where he was introduced, he was a pretty balanced and good character. I thought that he wasn't the best, but he was pretty good in that movie, and so to see him go from being like a decent introduction to a shit first movie is kind of sad. Shifting gears, I'm gonna talk about a song now, one that you've definitely heard of. It's Die With A Smile by Bruno Mars. Now you might think, okay, the song's alright, and I want you to guess how many plays that it has. Now, keep in mind it is a Bruno Mars song and it does have a Lady Gaga feature, but given that this song came out 7 months ago, what would you say? 100 million? 200 million? 500 million? Maybe even a billion? You stupid fucking child. This song, in 7 months, has 2 billion streams. Is this something that music does? Is that normal? I feel like this song just kind of came out and then it just became one of Bruno Mars's biggest songs of all time, which is a problem because Bruno Mars has really good songs and most of his top 10 songs are really good. Locked Out of Heaven, When I Was Your Man, Finesse, these are all great songs. Die With A Smile is not one of them. There is no reason that When I Was Your Man and Die With A Smile need to have almost the same amount of plays, especially when Die With A Smile just came out. I'm pretty sure that the human brain can only comprehend around 10,000, and any number bigger than that you can't really fully understand. But for it to have 2 billion streams, it came out, here, I'm gonna look it up. It came out 214 days ago. So if you divide 2 billion by 214, that means it's gaining 1 million streams a day. It is not that good, guys. The next one I want to talk about might be one of the more controversial ones on this list, and that's The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Boys, I have few words to describe my feelings for this game, which is why I'll probably talk about it for the next 2 to 3 minutes. This game is the most overrated piece of media I have ever consumed. Ocarina of Time in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025 is dog shit. To give you some context, I played this game about a year ago on the 3DS version, which is considered to be the best way to play the game. The only Zelda that I had played before this was Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I had heard from Zelda fans and the general consensus that not only was this the best Zelda game, but on Metacritic it's the best game ever made. So I had no reason to think it was going to be bad. I went into this game very positively, and I started playing it, and I realized this game is fucking terrible. Number one, it looks like dog ass, and I know the first thing that people who are going to try to defend this game are going to say is, well, it came out like 30 years ago, and it was really good for its time. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It doesn't fucking matter how good a piece of media was when it came out if it's not still good now. This game has bad graphics. There's no way around it, and that's still a problem because instead of me spending my time playing Ocarina of Time, I could be playing Red Dead Dead Redemption 2, or Tears of the Kingdom, or Cyberpunk, or GTA 5. So even if this game has shitty graphics, but it came out 30 years ago, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm not even somebody that cares that much about graphics, but the reason this sucked so much in this game was because you spend half the time running back and forth between Hyrule Field, and there's not only nothing in there, but it looks like shit. But the graphics wouldn't even be that big of a deal to me if it weren't for the dungeons in this game. They are impossibly cryptic. Maybe I'm just a dumbass, but I think it would literally be almost impossible, and I'm not exaggerating, for somebody who has never played a Zelda game to start in this year playing Ocarina of Time and get through the entire game without looking anything up. I literally had to look at a step-by-step walkthrough throughout every single dungeon in the game to be able to get through it without spending hours and hours just banging my head against the wall at this bullshit. That takes all the fun out of the game, and it's not like Zelda games have always been like this. Just a couple years after Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker came out, and that game is amazing today. And I'm not even just talking about the water dungeon, talking about the shadow dungeon, the spirit dungeon, the fire dungeon, all of them. They're so difficult, dude, for no reason. And it's not even a type of difficulty that feels rewarding whenever you do figure it out. It just feels plain unfair. And I'm not somebody who just hates a game if it's too challenging. I love stuff like Champion's Road or Darker Side of the Moon. Whenever there's challenge, but it feels like you're at fault, it makes it rewarding when you finally complete it. But when the challenge derives from it being so cryptic that you could never understand it, it doesn't feel rewarding to complete it. It almost makes you more frustrated at it. I'm sure that if I played the game 50 times and knew every puzzle like the back of my cock, it'd probably be a lot more fun. But seriously, if you think you like this game, go back and play it. Do not look at any tutorials and take all your prior information of the game out of your brain. I know I've already said this, but I really want to reiterate that going into this game, I had no reason to hate it. I didn't even have any expectations of it. I was completely neutral but excited to play it, and this is the outcome that I got after playing it. I saw this one video, and I'll link it in the description, which details a lot of the problems with the game that I had, and it's like the only person I've ever seen to dislike the game. Jumping ship again, we're going to be talking about the most recent thing on this list, the reason that most people watching this video probably clicked, which is Playboi Carti. Like Ocarina of Time, I went into Playboi Carti's catalog almost completely neutral, expecting really nothing. The only thing that I knew was that many people loved him and considered him a goat. So you can imagine my shock whenever I heard how shit I Am music is. Guys, this fucking blue cock. If I was a Playboi Carti fan and actually cared and had to wait 5 years for this album, I would be rioting in the street. Let me just play you a random sample from a random song on this album. Now, let me play you a good song that I recently heard. Incomparable. Here's the problem though. Carti is not a bad artist. Not by a long shot, but it's because Carti has two styles of music. I don't know what they're actually classified as, but I have two different classifications for it. One, the weeb anime shit, which I'll play a sample for. Oh my god, boy, that boy on top, sip and walk, make my heart stop. And then we have the rage vampire lesbian shit, which I'll play a sample for. I sat down, crust, turning my neck, showing my upside down, crust, turning my neck, shut 'em up. One of these is far and away better than the other, and it is obviously the weeb anime shit. It's not even close. But on I Am Music, most of the shit is the rage vampire lesbian shit, and it's terrible. There's no flow, there's no beat. It sounds like he just went into FL Studio, copy and pasted a bunch of random assorted sound effects from a fucking pre-made pack, and then just threw them on the timeline and called it a day. It's not good. I will say that on this album, there was a couple good songs. Not even close enough for me to consider the album good as a whole, but the best song was undoubtedly We Need All the Vibes. Here's a sample from that. I mentioned she don't stop in it. They say she sauce and we made a couple meal that we spent it out just splodging. I don't understand how this dude has like over 50 million monthly listeners and this is the music he's putting out. There's no way. I'll stick by Playboi Carti, and on the theme of music, Fiend. I think that this is one of the most overrated songs in the past 10 years. If you listen to it more than 3 times, it gets too repetitive. I don't don't know how this song caused like some sort of low-scale earthquake at a Travis Scott concert, and I'll explain why. Number one, this is kind of like the new Sicko Mode, if you want to look at it like that, and it's not even close. It just isn't. Sicko Mode was a really good song when it came out, and a decent song now. Fiend was a meme song when it came out that people are trying to convince you is good now. It's not. It's probably Travis Scott's like second biggest song of all time. It has zero business being there. It's actually terrible. One of the reasons for this is because of, you guessed it, Playboi Carti's dog shit verse. He literally gets on, mumbles for about 6 bars, and then leaves. And then the song goes back to Fiend. In the first verse, when Travis Scott's actually trying, it's pretty good. But a majority of the song is just him saying Fiend, and it's over this like mediocre beat. The song couldn't have taken more than like 20 minutes to write. I'm not even exaggerating. Travis Scott has so many better songs. Playboi Carti has so many better songs. And similar to Die With a Smile, it just has no business being one of his biggest songs ever made. Now we're going to be shifting gears to a different style of media. We're going to be going to anime. The only anime your boy has ever watched, and that is Hunter x Hunter. My opinion here is probably the least important of all of these because like I said, it's the only anime I've ever watched. This show could have been really good, but it fell apart after season 1. To explain the concept really quickly, basically there's these group of wannabe hunters, which is like, you could think of it like a superhero. And there's these kids, and they want to become superheroes, but they need to go through this giant training course to get cards that allow them to be considered and classified as superheroes. These superheroes in their society are like celebrities. They're like the best people. They're awesome. And the show in the first season hypes up these people's arc of becoming a superhero like it's going to be the main thing in the show. But after the first season, they complete their task, they get their cards, and so there's no reason to watch the next 3 seasons. I can't stress enough how stupid that is. They set up the show like this is going to be the primary goal. It's the only thing that the show focuses on for the entirety of the first season. Then they complete it before the end of the first season and expect you to watch 3 more seasons. And it's not even like they fleshed out these characters an insane amount for you to care about them enough for that to be the reason that you continue watching. I watched season 1 3 times with the intent of watching the entire show, but after I got past the first season, every single time I gave up. Because then for like the next half of season 2, which is probably about as far as I've gotten in the show, they're just kind of fucking around. There's no real goal that they're working up towards, and so there's not really a reason to continue watching. I'm sure that later into season 2 or maybe season 3 or just somewhere in the future of the show, they set up another primary goal, but you can't deny that for them to choose to write the show in that way was fucking terrible. Hunter x Hunter is considered in the top 20 best animes of all time, and while I've never watched another one, I don't think it deserves that spot. I mean, seriously, these characters were decent, and if they literally just changed that one aspect of the show, I probably would have watched it multiple times over, and it probably would have been one of my favorite shows of all time. Next one I want to talk about, I kind of have 2 entries of this piece of media, and it has to do with Spider-Man. Number 1 I'm going to talk about, I think it'll be a little bit less controversial, is Spider-Man 2 on PS5. For some context, I played Spider-Man 1 Remastered. I loved it. It was a great game. I'd probably rate it like a 7. Then I played Miles Morales Remastered. I'd probably rate that one like an 8. I thought the setting was a lot better. I thought the story was a little bit more interesting. Of course, it's a little too short, but it was a very fun game, and I think that the swinging, which has always been my favorite parts about these games, was way cooler in Miles Morales. So, like Ocarina of Time, I had no reason to think I was going to dislike Spider-Man 2 whenever I played it just about a month after it came out in 2023. Unfortunately, the game was pretty shit. Look, I don't know if I just didn't notice this about the first 2 Spider-Man games whenever I put a collective, like, 50 hours in them, but this game is literally just a spamming button simulator. The last third of this game, so about the last 4 to 5 hours, was literally this. You go to a place, you punch a bunch of grunts, and all of them are just NPCs that look a little bit differently, but they all fight about the exact same. You sit there, you spam, I think it's either the X button, I don't know, I'm not a PlayStation fuck ass. You spam the hit button, you kill all of them, then you go, you see a cutscene, you kill more of them, you see a cutscene, you kill more of them, then you complete the mission, then you swing for about 5 minutes to the next mission, and you copy and paste that for the entirety of the game. The game literally feels like a button mash simulator. The problem is, I've seen clips of like really cool swinging and really cool combat in this game, but whenever you progress through just the main story, you don't unlock any of that. You have to go out of your way, mainly after you beat the game, or just spend a shit ton of time doing what the game doesn't want you to do, to be able to unlock the cool shit that differentiates this game's combat and swinging from the first two games. And so for most of the game, you're just sitting there spamming a button. I was getting so frustrated during the Kraven fight. I remember it, where they just kept throwing these brainless NPCs at me. They don't do anything. There's so many different punchable characters in this game. They all fight the exact same. You beat them the exact same. They just look different, and it's so boring. It felt like the game was padding out time by just throwing more and more NPCs at you that take so long to kill. I played it, I think, in the second to hardest mode, so I got a pretty good feel for like the difficulty of the game, and the entire difficulty of it just comes from you having to beat a metric ass ton of NPCs that never run out. That's the only complaint I wrote in my notes about this game, is that you just have to sit there and push one button for about 16 hours. The game looks good, and I'm getting a new computer soon, and I'll probably play the remastered version on Steam since it just came out, and I'll see if my opinion changed, but my current opinion of the game is that for some reason it is just a absolute fall from grace of the first two games, which Miles Morales is the best of all of them. You can't fucking prove me wrong. Going to the final Spider-Man thing on the list, I've talked about this one before, and I got great feedback whenever I did, but the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I made a whole video about these, and I think even though it's a really old video at this point, I stand by most of what I said. If you want to go watch it, you can. I'll link it in the description if I remember. Probably won't. But after being a literal lifelong Spider-Man fan and watching every single Spider-Man movie multiple times, playing all the Spider-Man games, hold up, I'll go get something. I actually read comics. I'm not a fucking nerd. I know what I'm talking about. I understand look at these. These were like $20 each. Shut the fuck up. I have more on that shelf too. I can confirm that the Spider-Man Sam Raimi movies are beyond overrated. I think that the reason most people like them was because they grew up watching them as a kid. The problem is that they're not bad. They're just not the best, which most people seem to think they are. I think any competent Spider-Man fan can at least agree that the Amazing movies were the worst, but also, we should all be able to unanimously agree that the Home movies are the best. Not only do they have the best Peter, but they have the best Spider-Man. That's the only two things you need to make a good Spider-Man movie, and the Home movies do it so much better. Of course, Spider-Man 2 is the best of the three, but even then, I think that Spider-Man Homecoming is a more fun movie. And I think for Spider-Man as a character, except for maybe specific one-off times, the movies just have to be fun. If they can be fun, which most of them aren't, but if they're fun, they're automatically good. To summarize some of the points I made really quickly on just why these movies are bad, I think most of the character decisions don't make sense if you look into them and think about them, especially MJ's and Aunt May's. Also, most of the villains in the series, their motives don't really make much sense, and Peter as a character is way too wimpy for my liking. These are all things that I think the Home movies get better to almost every extent, which is why I think that in almost any measurable way that you could look at them, the Home movies are not only better movies, but better Spider-Man movies. But I do want to quickly say that I would love to have some sort of a debate with somebody who holds the Sam Raimi movies as like the fucking the first coming of Christ. I would love to argue against them on why the Home movies are better. Maybe I'll make a video of that on some point. Coming down to the last two, we have two extremely popular pieces of media. One's a movie series and one's a game. Guess we'll start with the movie series. This is probably the biggest piece of media on this entire list. However, I strangely don't think I'll be offending a ton of people with this point. You could probably see it coming. The series that I will be referring to is... Jesus fucking Christ. I do need to preface that unlike Spider-Man, I have not watched every Star Wars movie, and I never intend to. The reason why is because most of them are shit. What I have seen is all of the prequels, which somehow people like. The prequel ones, for those who don't know, are all the ones that came out in the very early 2000s, and these movies are so fucking boring. I literally, no exaggeration, fell asleep throughout every single prequel movie at some point. Their CGI looks terrible. Their characters don't talk like humans. They're way too complex. The narratives don't make any sense, and I feel like most of the time, people don't even know what's happening or where the story's leading to in these. They haven't aged well. The best thing about them is a racist depiction of a Jamaican person, and still somehow people try to say that these are not only the best Star Wars movies, but their favorite movies. Guys, there's so many better movies. movies. There's so many. Have you seen, like, The Whale? Have you seen Whiplash? Have you seen Interstellar? Have you seen Infinity War? But Star Wars isn't just the prequels. There's also the originals and then the sequels. Both of these I have not seen, but from what I've heard, the sequels, aka the Disney ones, somehow undermine and completely ruin the characters and the story of Star Wars throughout all the 6 movies leading up to it, and hardcore Star Wars fans hate those. So from what I understand now, the prequels suck, the Disney movies suck, and the only ones that are good are the originals, which came out in like the 80s. And even if you want to say that these 3 movies, the originals, are the best Star Wars movies and some of the best action movies of all time, there is no way in hell, in fucking boiling, burning hell, that these 3 movies carry Star Wars to be the 4th biggest media franchise in the world. Because even if you're saying that the originals are amazing, you're probably also saying that the sequels and the prequels suck. So only 3 out of the 9 movies are worth watching? Come on! Finally on this list, another old video game that a lot of people hold dearly, that some people even consider the best in the series, Mario 64. I have played every 3D Mario game, some of them multiple times. I love pretty much every single Mario game I've ever played, and I wouldn't even consider a majority of them to even come close to mediocre. I did say a majority, however. The problem with Mario 64 is like Ocarina of Time. It's like the Sam Raimi movies. It's like Star Wars. It's that there is so many better Mario games. The locations in this game are just plain boring. Bob-omb Battlefield is like a shitty version of Cascade Kingdom, and I understand that it came first, so technically it's the other way around, but again, it has the Ocarina of Time problem where it's like, even if this game was amazing 30 years ago, I'm not playing it 30 years ago. I'm playing it now when I could be playing Odyssey or Mario Wonder. So this game has to still be entertaining now, and I just don't think it's nearly as good as other Mario games. Another main problem is that it just doesn't control well, and so that just kind of adds a layer of frustration whenever you're playing it, where it just doesn't really do what you want it to most of the time. And this game is nowhere near bad, but I don't know how any Mario fan could consider it even close. It's not even top 3, dude. It might not even be top 5. Like literally, there's 8 or 9 3D Mario games. I don't think it's top 5. Now, I know people are gonna say, well, it revolutionized and it paved the way for 3D, and it's one of the most important games ever made. I'm sure it is, and I don't think you're wrong in saying that at all. But I'm talking about the experience playing it in today's time. But I'll stop dragging it. That's my list. I'm sure that I offended probably every single person that's ever subscribed to me by saying these views. But if you disagree with me, I encourage you, go and comment it and dislike this video. I would love your engagement. At the end of the day, these are just my opinions, and I would love to hear yours. Either way, though, I appreciate you watching this video to completion, and I hope that you have a great day.